And we're live. Hello, everyone. This is Ninja DC joining you again for the React video. This time for My Little Pony Season 7, Episode 18. I'm starting to lose track of them. Join me again is...
track of him.
I just feel so weird, like the placement of that season. Partially because we got a big-ass break in between.
Yeah.
Join me again is a herd of brony.
Hello, you ponies. I'm a herd of bronies. Welcome to Let's Watch Daring Do Part something. It's been a lot of episodes with her.
Well, three in the official universe, but including the short in the Equestria Girls universe. Yeah.
Equestria Girls universe doesn't exist. We can discount that. It'll be fine.
Is it definitely three?
Wait.
Well,
No.
like
Actually, well, it's three in the sense of like we actually had the real Daring Do be involved.
Okay.
I mean, she was
No, there was.
in season 2, and like in the story sense.
There's been 4 episodes talking like with her in them. What Daring Do the book one was the first one.
Next introduction.
Perspective. Yes. Sorry.
Wow, way to rush me, Jen.
We're getting into the discussions, into the introductions.
Screen 4.
My discussion is my intro. Thank you very much.
That'll work. Next introduction.
Yada yada da say. It is I, you know, Brony here, ready to entertain you all in this hopefully a great hour of reacting to another My Little Pony episode. And may us all be happy and merry as we watch this.
Yes.
Clap.
Yay. I love being happy and merry as we watch this.
Yes.
And if you're not, you're doing it wrong!
Quillo,
That's
Yay.
Quillo, I just noticed you sound a little bit like John.
Do I sound a bit like John, do I?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like me to turn down the John a bit? He's with me in spirit.
Stop it!
The allure of accents.
Oh my god.
I can be the only John for you if you like.
Oh, God.
Can you tell him to stop? This is scary. Mad Quillo! Mad! Stop! This is too mad right now!
All right. Jen?
Song the entire time.
You really expect me to follow? You really expect me to follow that after Quillo just made everything meta just now? Oh, of course.
Yep, you always have to follow the hardest one.
Why don't you? One of these days, Jen will get herself a nice, funny intro. But for now, deal with it. I'm Jen. Deal with it. That's all. But happy to review episode. What is it? 18.
Nobody.
I can't remember either.
There's 17.
17.
It says 17 on theirs, but it is 18.
We have no idea anymore.
17.5. Let's get on.
That'll work. We have no idea.
Let me
Let's
Google
move
it.
on.
Let me Google it.
Google, our Lord and Saviors.
But while he's Googling it, Cadet.
It's 18.
Hello, everyone. Oh, that's good. Hello, everyone. Can I recording for review? I'm so happy.
We've missed you.
Yes, I missed you too.
Yay. Next introduction.
And now, John.
No.
Hello, everyone. It's been a long time since I've been on the. When was the last time I was here?
All right. Just because they
John
don't get the
needs to
visual.
John
Yeah,
needs
just-
to hear this.
Just for our listeners' reaction, like, no, he's not John, this is Quillo.
G'day, collaborators. It's Discount John filling in for his position. It's been a while on the 8-bit reactions, but I'm glad to be back. Yeah.
John, you need to hear
John,
this.
when did you become a unicorn?
Wait a minute, you're right.
I thought
When
you
did he become a unicorn?
It was sometime after I turned purple.
Dang it! The color of magic! And how is it to go back to the purple ones?
Okay, tune in next week, folks, where John turns from Earth Pony to a unicorn to an alicorn. And he becomes the Johnicorn.
Complete.
Yep, and he becomes the Johnicorn.
The Scoticorn.
The Scoticorn. Ooh,
Princess,
I like it.
excuse me, it's Princess Jonicorn.
This actually does remind me of a funny story. The funny fact is, the actual national animal of Scotland is a unicorn.
Unicorn, yes, it is.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I'm moving to Scotland. Bye. I'm taking my rarity plushie with me.
I mean, we've only got the two most vicious animals in the world as our coat of arms, or the national animals, the
Nice.
kangaroo and the emu.
Yeah, those two are pretty vicious.
We once had a war
Oh, wait.
against the emus, and we lost.
I mean, we sound like we're joking, but seriously, emus and kangaroos are both.
Aussie.
Don't
I was gonna say
what about koalas? What about
Very good.
koalas? They may look
they
cute.
can be
but
real
they're-
a-holes. I was trying to tone down the swearing a little bit.
Yeah, it's like anything that might,
Start swearing.
anything
What
that
if-
might.
What have you become?
What has happened in the 3 months I've been gone?
A lot.
It's been 3 months, guys.
A lot,
Well,
happens.
right now-
A lot happens in 3 months.
Well, it's after right now. It's after work, and I just drank about 3.5 shots of espresso. So
Okay.
We're gonna say
I thought you were about to say vodka.
I let them know, like about 2 minutes ago is where it started to hit me. Like, oh, I'm starting to get the caffeine now.
He's getting fired
I
up.
thought you were going to
folks.
say vodka, then you'd be on my level.
Gutsy. Getting gutsy here.
Quillo, you have to discount. You can't discount. Don't discount koalas. I've heard they may look cute, but they'll claw your face off.
We don't call them koalas. Koalas is the tourist name for them. We call them drop bears.
Drop it.
bears.
Yeah, drop bear. Yeah.
Drop bear.
What they do is that if you walk underneath a tree, right?
Uh-huh.
If you don't have the scent of Vegemite on your breath, or just in your system, then they'll drop on you, and they usually kill you with the force of the drop. But if not, their claws will just easily like pick out your brain.
Holy shit, what? Oh my god.
Everyone that's watching, I'm giving you the Aussie break. Don't come to Australia unless you're good with Vegemite, because that's the reason why we eat Vegemite all the time, is so that the drop bears know that we're not tourists, so that they'll know not to prey on us.
And now,
all the
and
people,
now I
all
am
the
looking.
people that.
Okay.
All the people that you see like hugging koala bears,
Mhm.
quotation mark koala bears, those are just actors. They're not tourists, they're Australian, because the blood of tourists and makes the drop bears really, really active.
But Quillo,
Yeah.
Quillo,
Yeah.
no one is really Australian because Australia is not real.
Well, yeah, that's just assumed.
Okay, and now I am looking at
They're
my
actually
koala,
from Austria.
and now I'm looking at my koala plushies. And now I'm looking at my koala plushies, and they're starting to not look so nice.
Yeah, no.
Don't look at the
It's a
Pokemon.
ruse.
Don't look
They
at
wanna
Koala
kill
the
me.
same way.
Oh, great! My koala plushies now want to kill me. Great.
Do not put them on a shelf. Put them in like a cupboard somewhere low so they can't drop on you. Yeah.
They're already on a shelf.
Oh, no.
Okay, I think
It's
I'm
too
gonna
late.
die tonight. Oh. Well, it's been fun.
Jen.
You're ripping me apart.
Rippin' Jen.
They're gonna rip me apart, and they'll save the unicorn horn for breakfast.
Oh no!
But, all right, let's begin long. Is everyone ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
All right. Everyone have that episode up at 0-0.
Yes.
0-0.
All right. Press play in 3, 2, 1, play.
Here we go.
Hey, it's a recolor Pipsqueak.
It's old Pipsqueak.
It's not
Pipsqueak got
Pipsqueak.
old, man.
How did she fuck the
It's
pit?
featherweight.
You know.
You know.
Seems like a bunch of boring hooey to me. Does new shrubbery and castle garden
Boring
sound like
hooey.
boring hooey to you? Snooze. What
Her
about
voice seems off.
Parasite infestation in Philadelphia eradicated?
Paris Bride infestation.
Actually, not
Oh,
off in
in
a bad way, but
Philadelphia.
different.
They mentioned that back in season 1. It took them six seasons to deal with it.
Official food of Winnie
Wow.
Author AK Yearling announces retirement.
Oh!
Election heating up for candidate in favor of cooling it down. What? Oh, let me say that. I never knew you were so into politics, Rainbow.
Oh God! Why?
Can't be
Oh
true.
no.
That's a
Well, I didn't
politics.
know this was the official food of Winneapolis either, but here we are. No, me. adventurer of all time.
Let me just yell this.
Nah, she's just
Shake.
gonna write a. She's just gonna
Dash
write.
your time
theater-
supplies.
Nah, she's just gonna write a play and then come back a few years later to write another book.
Yeah. They'll replace it with AK Yearling 2, and AK Yearling 2 will be the new product, but so much worse than AK Yearling 1. And so when AK Yearling 1 comes back, she'll do a massive like comeback reprieve, and then everyone will be like, "Oh my gosh, AK Yearling 1's back! We've missed this so much!" And then she'll make a lot of money in sales.
That could work.
Genius.
Super slurm. All right.
Couldn't fail.
That could work. Smart.
All right.
Just retired. Like today. Are you sure she wants visitors?
Pinky's hair is
Like today.
I know would never quit and retire out of the blue. Something could be really wrong.
Wait,
and we need to make
did
sure
it just say Josh Haber was also a part of like the editors?
I think I saw that.
That's weird.
Whoa,
Daring do.
GM Berrows.
Of course
Cool.
not.
Oh,
But that wouldn't hurt either.
wow.
Wait,
Okay.
isn't this the one we've been dreading, looking forward to this whole season?
Yeah.
Maybe she's not home. Maybe she went to the
Furious
editor-in-chief
rainbow
of the
knocking.
Ponyville Chronicle to correct the misprint they made.
Maybe she's
Oh.
dead.
How do you know? 'Cause she's right there.
Those eyes look off.
I knew it. Something is wrong. Okay. Time with the weight of the world. Now she's hanging her head in utter despair.
Oh God.
Maybe looking at pictures.
Like nothing can ever possibly be the same again. Why, oh, why
Oh.
did this happen? Never mind. That time she was just stretching.
Oh,
It's us.
Is she sitting there watching her old movies like Shia LaBeouf?
Reading her old books.
reading her books.
whoa, she's
Did
moving.
somebody ransack her cottage again and steal some ancient mysterious relic that's the
Pinky,
key to saving all
Pinky,
the
what are you doing?
It's the glowing.
Nothing's been stolen. Then is some pony blackmailing you and forcing you to retire? Cause if they are... No, nothing like that. So you're just quitting
Angry
and
horse
moving
noises.
away? Why would you do that? Explained everything to the Ponyville Chronicle. Oh, really?
Why into the Ponyville Chronicle?
Announced yesterday that the next adventure novel in her popular series, Daring Do and the Curse of the Pharaoh's Tomb, will be
Probably just closest newspaper.
looks forward to her retirement. That doesn't explain anything. It just
So many
says
mean
you're getting
things.
some writing stories. But most ponies don't know that you actually are Daring Do and that the stories are real. So what you're really saying is that you're giving up being Daring Do, but you're not saying why.
Exposition.
If you don't feel like talking about it, that's A-okay, AK. As your
AK.
completely understand.
Pinky just feels like a weird choice for this.
Wow. Wow.
Is Pinky?
That seems un-Pinky-like to me.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
I mean,
Backing
considering the other
off.
episodes that she's sort of grown from, understanding boundaries.
wait.
Of destruction, colon. Daring to ruins entire
Wake of
Colon.
destruction, colon.
Dare or scare. Local rogue daring to invoke.
Oh my God! It's like the superhero movies with destruction.
It's Spider-Man.
That's enough.
It's Batman versus Superman.
Tried to help us mad at me. That's not true.
It's the Viscera cleanup detail
They're mad at Daring
of ponies.
They don't sell my books in Southern Equestria.
Oh,
There don't know who
wait, Southern Equestria?
they
Does that mean
Yeah.
this is America?
Apparently she
only-
does nothing good. And I guess it's a good thing you
They don't get
live in
newspapers.
AKU.
Ah.
So all we have to do is go down there and explain to these ponies that none of this stuff is true. Easy peasy cheesy. But that's just the thing.
Sleazy, breezy.
It is true. What? I guess I've always been so focused on saving priceless relics and stopping the bad guys that I never really thought about the mess I leave behind.
Just like Superman.
Oh, hey.
Really, I called it.
What's happening now?
Consequences.
I guess ponies are finally fed up. Either way,
Mm.
I'm done with adventures. Having or writing. Come on! For every one pony who's upset, there must be at least 100 that know you're a
Or
hero.
smoking.
Oh God. Oh.
Well, why don't we go visit this village?
This is the equivalent of the single hate comment on a YouTube video that destroys someone's life.
Hello there. The ponies can tell you in person just how much they appreciate you.
I understand your pain.
Probably hate you.
These articles are.
RD, your AJ show me.
So, I know so.
Keep it gotten.
Put that under the wing.
And it disappeared, you're right. It disappeared into ether.
Classic montage.
Why aren't you following the
Indiana
train
Jones
tracks?
traveling.
Now we're in Egypt.
Oh my god.
It looks just like that village in your last book.
Egypt ponies.
Egyptian ponies. Alright, how are you gonna do this?
Egyptian horses.
Wait a minute. We're close to Saudi Arabia then. We're about to get a provocation.
Daring do evil plot to separate the sister crown relics. And if it wasn't for her, the region would be cursed with eternal light, and the entire town of Somnambula would have sunk into the ground.
Solomina.
Don't think you're a hero. Watch this.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh. He's so sad.
Thing you could tell me about a pony named Daring Do.
He's
I
like,
hear she's an awesome adventure pony hero.
Daring Do? Oh, she's awesome, all right.
Uh-huh.
Destroying ponies' apple carts.
Oh!
My cabbages!
My cabbages! Shady pony.
Oh, darn.
Oh, darn.
It's that guy again.
Dr. Caballero.
Who is the exact opposite of a menace?
Dr. Spanish Horse.
I tried to tell you. Coming back here.
Dr. Horse in Spanish. Caballero.
I saw his smile.
Yeah, I know.
Evil smile.
Wait, does that mean like he actually knows about the secret identity? That would be weird.
I never should have come with you. Maybe we should just go home.
Well, yeah, they know where she lives. Because
Huh.
her house was ransacked before, so obviously they know
It seems like she doesn't want
her
to
pseudonym.
in her saddle. But we have to convince her that ponies do appreciate her. And as her friend, I have to make sure she believes that.
But what if like the reality just turns out to be?
Get on in. Daring Do sees her all the time in her
Ooh.
Oh.
means
Kinda like the glow effect.
here who love Daring
Art.
Do. Maybe they can help us. My nose is telling me to help
Pinky.
myself to muffins.
What?
Ferociously presses bell button.
Hello there, jewelry pony.
Evening to you, madame. We are but
And before she starts speaking like a bogan.
inquire on the status of a certain mayor of intrigue taking residence here. What in southern Equestria are you on about?
Oh,
Not anymore, she doesn't. Why not? The last time I rented that rascal a room, she was in such a rush to hightail it out of here, she didn't even pay her bill. But
oh,
Oh dear.
been destroyed half the rooms looking for her. Guess she made them even more mad than she made me. No, you got it all wrong. How do you think? Daring Do was trying to save every pony from the curse of the doomed diadem of Zilati. And she was only in a rush because she had to get the crown back to the tiara of Teotlale before the curse took effect. Chapter 17.
That full, though.
Sounds like a
That was pretty
tall
good.
tale to me, and a hard one to believe now that I know Daring Do is a scoundrel and a thief. Every year, ponies come to offer precious glow pads to the Somnambula statue
Glow
in the
pads.
village in hopes for a good future. Why, that
Uranium.
poor fella had his glow pads necklace stolen by Daring Do just yesterday.
She wasn't even here yesterday.
Yeah.
Daring Do ruined our town and stole our precious globe bags.
This
We need to make sure that if she turns up again, there will
this
be
plot is hurting me.
every pony who's
it's
meet with the statue tomorrow.
Now I'm getting blamed for things I didn't even do? Why would I steal from them?
oh,
Daring
God.
didn't do that.
This is reminding me of like the bad times of Phantom Beings.
All the free mini muffins. After a good night, I'm gonna fix all of this. I promise.
The little tiny squeak noise. Oh my gosh, that was so cute.
Pinky giggle.
This is never gonna work. Of course it will. All I have to do is go up there and explain to every pony how wrong
Why are they
we
just
all
chatting all like towards the statue and not towards each other?
Easy peasy cheesy.
Easy peasy cheesy.
The remains of your,
Oh, what
the
the?
Somnambula statue. Now that Daring Do has destroyed it, tell me, where will we hang our glow pads?
Freak.
Why do you hide your face
By Daring Do.
all the time?
They were stolen by Daring Do.
Why are you preaching constantly?
They took our jobs.
They took a name.
They
They
took
was
the
stole, but then they wasn't.
Look, A big, long neck, itty bitty face, weird claw thingy on his tail.
Bird claw thingy.
Uh-oh. It's all a gift.
The baddie.
Obvious shifting.
If Alizodal had gotten away with the doomed item, your entire village would have been swallowed up. And that's
Oh, that
far
Daring
worse
Do little
than losing
refrain in
some
there.
crummy old statue.
Insulting culture 101.
The rummy old statue. It was the namesake of our town. If you want to understand us, you must first understand her.
Who?
Sonambula. Long ago, this
Ooh.
is
So blah blah.
Exposition!
Ooh.
Oh,
Yay.
Sphinx!
Sweet.
Like her fellow villagers, Sonambula didn't have much, but she used what she had. to keep
Sonambula
others from
had
eating.
enough for fancy dress
Son
though.
of the pharaoh, Prince Hisan, was so
Oh, it's not that much fancy.
that he decreed no pony would go hungry again.
Yay!
Mmm.
Pony War.
When Hisan
I really like the music.
Sphinx,
Okay.
Holy shoot!
Oh my god, she becomes our son?
Well, the Sphinx is the like element of fire essentially.
Really? I didn't know that.
Fire and riddles. I think it's Agent of the Sun. I think something like that. Because Ra is the sun.
Ra is the
But-
sun god, yes.
The Sphinx is like
Guardian?
I don't know. Ra's pet. I don't know. Can't remember.
Somehow I feel like the Sphinx should have been a woman's voice, but oh well.
Hang on.
No, he's narrating.
Yeah, he's narrating it, isn't he?
Oh, never mind.
She instantly knew the answer. Hope, she shouted.
Hope?
The Sphinx was so
Yeah.
enraged. It seems the prince. So Sonambula asked her for one more challenge. But if she
Oh, it's a
accomplished
she,
it,
never mind.
the Sphinx would leave
Oh,
from
that
the
lip
kingdom
sync.
forever. The Sphinx quickly agreed, asking only
I really
The
like the
Sphinx.
design of the Sphinx.
I just like it how Sonamila like literally referred to the Sphinx as opposed to you.
the Sphinx
Huh.
Maybe the Sphinx prefers that.
prevented Sonambula from flying. She
Ha,
knew
ha,
she
ha,
needed
ha,
a
ha.
leap of faith to save the prince. Guided by the sound of the prince's voice,
I'm over here.
she
I believe in blind trust.
Ha!
And then I just fly away.
The pharaoh asked how Sonambula prevailed, and she explained that she had
I do
always
like this
wished to
Egyptian
make things
exposition
better,
art style.
Yeah.
that hope
Mm.
had carried her through. The
Hope.
prince replaced the pearl Sonambula gave up with a string of glow pads, and around her neck they glowed bright enough to light the entire kingdom. Forever after, glow pads became our symbol of hope.
Yeah, he's too much like Grandpair. It's just driving me
Design
crazy.
wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, just design and voice wise and tone.
But I bet if she were here, she'd tell you
Probably
how
the same guy.
Daring Do is too, because
No, it's not. Well, it's not Shatner.
Okay.
If Sonambula were here today, she would condemn Daring Do for destroying our symbol of hope.
Your/our.
Boo, nobody likes you.
That flashback deserved a better episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, what did Daring Do ever do to you to deserve all this?
What did Daring do?
Caladeron.
Cabaleron, that's his name.
Cavaleron. Cavaleron.
Dr. Spanish Horse.
When I saw you
Spanish for horse.
Cavaleron.
I
That's
knew
like
that Daring Do would not
Caballero.
be far behind. I really do owe you for leading her right
Spanish.
to me.
I didn't mean to.
Thank you for helping me break Daring Do's spirit by destroying her reputation. But I can't have you running off and telling her my plan.
Flash!
All right, come on. Dash could have so beat all
Oh
that.
my god.
God!
Rainbow Dash, come on.
Oh, the framing of that was just. Ah!
That's gonna take away some points.
Not Desert Horse.
Wait, picking! No! You can run!
Do you know that a pith helmet is actually incredibly useful in humid and arid environments because it like holds in the sweat and keeps your head cold?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's incredibly useful.
Where did they go?
Interesting.
To the temple.
Did she just drop the binoculars?
Yeah.
Or was that someone else's sound?
Yeah, that was mine.
Daring Do?
Welcome to the toxic sludge pit.
Gap, gap, gap.
If my previous plan didn't cause you to give up, Daring Do, then the shame of losing your dear friend, Rainbow Dash to the slime will. And that ancient
The
magic
eyebrows.
from the legend is real. There'll be no flying.
Bushy brows.
Good luck.
Dr. Bushy Brows.
We constantly have to have traps
Oh,
at the
that
same Pegasi's one true ability.
Nice expressions for Cavaleron.
Yeah, for real.
Mm.
If this really is like Somnambula's story, then we just have to have hope that we can. I think we need more than hope, Pinky. There was a bridge in the story, and there's no bridge here. What are we gonna do?
You.
I don't know.
Oh, and Daring Do
Scuttles.
can't fly. Am I right?
Correct. The spell is still in effect.
The spell
Oh,
style,
gosh, yeah.
yeah.
Pinky kills herself with hope.
No.
Ah!
What?
Oh, God!
What?
You
these come
got to be kidding me.
Thanks for reminding me.
They were hopeful.
God! There's a
In
moment
the
that a better form of hope.
Sludge has actually melted Glopez. That's like the
Super
physical
melted.
embodiment of hope. And so their hope amalgamated the jets.
That was a really bad Deus Ex Machina.
It's like,
Yeah.
that's
That
what
was
happened in,
really
like,
bad.
it was like the first
This-
episode of like Applejack's like honesty trial being very unclear, you know?
Rip.
You stole our glow pass.
Glopez.
Get him!
Oh,
Get him!
No, you were just trying to sully my name so that you'd be free to steal whatever you wanted.
Of course that was the plan, Daring Do. At first, I just wanted the glow pass. But then, I saw an opportunity to write you out of the story for good.
okay. That was a good time.
Distraction. You
You're a
lead
little
in
too
your
close
wake.
there.
It didn't take too much to convince ponies. You were a villain.
You even closer.
Wrong, Cavaleron. And I won't let you break my spirit again. Because I'm never gonna give up hope that I can protect ponies and ancient treasures from miscreants like you.
Angry Potters.
I don't think that was like the issue you were having before.
You're fools to believe in her.
Well, you
Yeah,
did
once
steal
you have-
our Glopez.
Wow! No, why is everyone just not charging after them?
Okay, that's enough.
He puts down.
I have wings, you know.
To our truth. Are you kidding? That was awesome! We're just Me too. But I'm glad I realized that even if you're fighting for something good, you're still responsible for your actions. And if something bad happens that you didn't intend, you
Moral
shouldn't
of the
give
day.
up or lose faith in yourself. All you
Oh,
gotta do is make it right. Feel free to use that in your next book. You know?
And the letter of the day is
No, all you have to do is jump blindly off
The
the
letter
cliff.
of the day is in hope.
You just fly.
oh God.
Boom.
Oh, finally. Oh, okay. In this case, they set the moral too early.
I just like it how she actually put a picture of bits on the bag as opposed to like a bit symbol or something.
Yeah,
Or
there's
just
no-
the
Wow,
sound.
that's a-
All right.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that
That was
was
a
a
pretty abrupt
that was a pretty abrupt
Yeah.
ending.
I hate to sort of start out negative, but I think this was Berrows' worst episode so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even compared to like say like her premiere episode all the way back at season 6 with like
Yeah,
that
that's the other
freaking-
one I was comparing it to. Is like, this one had at least the flashback was great. Like
Right.
the setup and all that. I felt like this lore that was actually pretty cool. But the structure was this is one of the most poorly structured episodes in the entire series. My brain hurt trying to piece. Okay, the pace of this it just
Ooh.
felt so off.
Mhm.
No, for me, like the issue I had with this episode was that it was saying hope like as an empty platitude, and I just couldn't bear to watch it. Like, just-
Right.
I mean, like people criticize thing and rub up of being like that, and it's like there's some instances in which hope can be shown a lot more effectively in that series even than this. Just like when people were saying hope in this episode, it was like just blind faith, just blind trust into something. And it's like, are we going back into like that one trial for like Applejack in like the premiere of the series and expanded into an episode? I mean, like in the flashback, that's when it actually felt a lot more sensible, make more sense. Because one is like, okay, I just gotta.
I suppose the trouble with doing the Hope trial again in the future point, which is where Rainbow Dash was set in, was the fact that the Sphinx wasn't there. They had to try and put in some way for the characters in order to give their life for the hope that they'll be able to save Rainbow Dash from the from the unknown sludge. I'm just going to call it molten glopaz. So they had to try and find some way in order for the characters to have to trust their hope completely. But
the problem was they didn't show the jets before, and then suddenly they appear out of nowhere.
And it just made no sense. Like,
yeah, they didn't really employ it well.
I mean, if it was like an invisible bridge, just outright referencing the Indiana Jones, it would have worked better than just random jets.
Yeah.
It's like, I could definitely see like the framing of this as well. Like right now, it's not really well put together. Like the idea of like Rainbow Dash arguing something, and then all of a sudden like Caballero, and it's just said a little something, and then we get to like the end of the second act, and it's just like, really, it's like people are just believing in like one thing or the other without like evidence. But then again, like in kids show, it's like. You're trying, but still.
I feel like the main reason, like Pinky was in this episode, was just for that ending part too, which is because she's shown before, like way back in season 1.
Oh yeah,
when she had like her tail twitches and things like that. She's like, oh yeah, I believe in things like that. I mean, there's no explanation for him. And it's like that's the only reason that she was in this episode, and I'm like, that's not a good reason.
The thing is, though, it would have justified it more if they actually would have showed her pinky sense sort of kicking in at the end. But no, they left it out, so it just felt like
exactly. Why have her in there if you're not going to implement something?
That I have to agree with Pie. I mean, you could have replaced her with Applejack.
Yeah, exactly.
I think any of the other main 6 would have worked better here.
No. I disagree. I disagree.
Rarity would have been interested in the Glopaz and all that.
Right.
And maybe even like the style of just
Twilight. No, Twilight would have been like about AK reeling because she's a big fan too.
Applejack, because the way they use Pinky sometimes was kind of like a hook for Dash, to hook her back down when she was getting sort of
too overzealous.
Yes. So Applejack is the better character for that.
Yeah, Applejack would have been much better for that role.
Well, I don't. How would Applejack been better for that?
Applejack would have fit because of the whole lie. Applejack would have fit at least because of so like the whole lie, lies and all that, like how she would not trust that. And then again, like I said, Rarity, then Fluttershy, just her friendship with Dash could have been used for the whole hope and all that stuff.
Well, no. Or it could have been, or that. Okay, that could have been like another. It could have been yet another like Fluttershy's forced to be brave plot.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine her be like Fluttershy, you gotta go across the bridge. Like I'm so scared or something.
No.
Actually, the funny joke would have been like, if they've done that, like, the funny joke is like, oh, I can't use my wings. Meh.
she does perfectly.
She doesn't anyway.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at the structure of the pit, right? It seems to be like rectangular in shape, and Rainbow, or the pedestal, seems to be like closer to one of the sides as opposed to where they had jumped from. So perhaps if they waited for a bit to go down and then jumped to the pylon and then saved Rainbow, climbed up to the top of it and then jumped back, that would have been a lot better than trusting their fate.
Using like a rope would have felt well in character with or Daring Do, but also like you could have still worked in the faith thing, as in like, oh, like I'm not sure if it's long enough. I'll just have hope it will. Like there's a perfect justification that fits her character. But here, just like it just felt the jumping pad just it was just so weird. Like the way the resolution is just so.
Secret contrivance.
Yeah, contrivances.
Yeah.
But, like, not even just contrived, but just like an odd contrivance too. Like there's if there had been magical, like invisible, like bridge, like that would have been a little contrived. At least it would have been made somewhat sense. But like here, it's just like
space bridge.
Yeah, exactly. That's
So
what he
even
said
just
earlier. That would have made more
yeah,
sense.
but like even if it was purely like not like even take away Indiana Jones, it would have fit the situation better to have an invisible bridge. Here, just like where the heck does it jumping? Well,
I wonder if they couldn't use the visible bridge because then they would have been like, "Oh no, you're ripping off Indiana Jones."
But it's like, AK yearly what does it out? When it comes to like referencing your material, you know? Even still, technically, would this all be related to like DuckTales since DuckTales inspired Indiana Jones in the first place?
Indiana Jones came before DuckTales.
No, apparently DuckTales was the one that inspired Indiana Jones via their comics.
Where did you see this?
Yeah.
I heard it. I heard it like on like some YouTube videos, like when I was on like a DuckTales binge.
Fake news. Fake news.
That is, yeah. Indiana Jones was directly like inspired by the old like short serial things that was played in like black and white theaters. Then a whole bunch of like what's the word I'm looking for? Pulp fiction sort of adventure stories that were played before movies started. They're like a few minutes long or something like that. That is directly where Indiana Jones came from.
From the 1930s, like all of those little action hero type things. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what like planted the seed in like George Lucas's mind.
Yeah.
So like also like Star Wars is heavily influenced by him seeing World War II films. Because there's a lot of films that are like there's one where they're bombing a dam. That's like you can see where like he's directly referencing that in like the trench run in the original A New Hope.
Hopefully learned and don't be afraid to fail in conversation then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, certainly something new like that. I was actually
Yep, go ahead.
I was honestly going to say, like, going back into like the topic, like I would have thought like maybe Fluttershy could have been better in like in the case of like since she constantly like voices like the outcries of like animals, a la like season 5 with like the Hooffields and the McColts episode. Like maybe we could have had like a case of like her calming down Rainbow, say, let's actually hear both sides of the thing because Pinky doesn't actually fit that at all. Usually she's very overbearing, even though she wants to make friends with everyone, but she's just like a force of nature with her optimism. But for Fluttershy, with her calm and demure nature, she would be quiet enough to actually hear the public's outcry since she gained like a bit more confidence in these social situations. Maybe I actually could have heard them and would have led to the flashback story a lot more seamlessly than this.
But then there's also the fact that, you'd be placing Fluttershy in as a situation in which, there'd be a lot of ponies she'd have to talk to. I mean, that's never really stopped her before, especially with the Equal Town and the one where she had to build the animal sanctuary.
Yeah.
But like, perhaps even there wouldn't be that many like animals for her to talk to. That could also give that kind of perspective, like, oh, this character is destroying our homes and whatnot. She could have talked to the bull.
I'm not even saying to like put animals in. I mean, like actually have her like start to use like those skills from like her talking with animals and actually slowly translate it to like in the actual ponies. Be like a diplomat that way.
I just thought of this sort of like off topic, but reminded me like how this episode possibly could have been more interesting. Is like the whole idea is like they don't know who Daring Do is because apparently for some reason the books aren't sold there. Which again,
is funny to me because I'm like,
yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Like international newspapers, or like, how does this work?
Maybe they have a different printed language.
No, but it's like still part of the question. Is like
Pinky read the newspaper articles from that area.
This is true.
Yeah. And then, but like going off of that, like an interesting way they could have spun this episode was like they come down there, they don't really believe Daring Do, they still believe she's a menace. But later in the episode, like when they are doing the whole challenge at the end, why don't you actually have the Sphinx there and be like, oh, it wasn't a myth, it actually happened. So like they would themselves be sort of a story that they didn't believe was necessarily true. and then they'd be confronted with like work that in. That would have been an interesting way to work in the parallels of like believing a story that you don't necessarily believe or something like that.
But then, how and why would the Sphinx capture Rainbow Dash on Caballeron's word? I mean, the whole reason.
No, I'm not saying that she would be captured. I'm just saying when they take Dash to the temple, the Sphinx would also be there, sort of thing.
But in the flashback, they'd have to.
I know she ran away, but like that was hundreds of years ago. I was just saying like she came back, sort of thing.
Baby Sphinx.
Oh my God, baby.
Oh, that would have actually been an interesting. That actually would have been an interesting twist of going on that. Like the Sphinx is actually just normal pony size.
Or the Sphinx starts off giant, and as it gets older, it turns into a pony size.
Yeah, but I also kind of felt like it was weird how like there was like something invisible in the temple that disabled wings from being used.
Well, I mean, it was the spell that the Sphinx cast. She didn't cast the spell on Somnambulous. I keep forgetting her name. Shoot. Sully, baby. She didn't cast the spell on the hero. She cast it on the temple. And so the spell would continue to be in effect after Soul.
But Daring Do isn't one of the people.
So,
but Daring Do is one of the people from the flashback. Or from the culture.
Well, yeah, but it's on the temple, and she's a Pegasus. The temple prevents a Pegasi from flying inside, so that's why it stopped her wings.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking about like the obvious hack Starlight has over the temple. Just
yes.
As it turns out, Starlight was the villain all along.
God dang it!
No, it'd be terrible.
Like it's like in these episodes with like Daring Do, it's like they always try to find a way to make her not use her wings at all.
I mean, like Daring Do's wings is kind of a trump card, eh?
It's sometimes I'm just like, when are we gonna get a flying Daring Do adventure? Like actually untouched territory for her books, you know? Like going through a flying castle in the sky.
The Lost Temple of Cloudsdale. They go to Cloudsdale, and there's just like this town, and then like this big old rip out of it, and then the ponies are just like walking around it, and it's just like, why don't they have something there? And the ponies are just like, oh yeah, there was something there. There's a big old castle there, but then it kind of like just drifted. We forgot to solidify the connections with the clouds, so it just kind of like flew off, and where I was like, oh no, there it goes. Oh, bye. Also, the treasure's still in there, by the way.
Of course, the ponies wouldn't chase after it, since that's how all ponies act now.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, we have a problem that can be solved. Like, really,
let me just go back to.
We'll just wait for the protagonist to get here.
DC, you go so far away.
Yeah, I just gotta get a piece of gum, but. Actually, I don't know why I'm talking right now because you can't hear me. But that's reminded me of like this one issue I had. Like one of the issues, like the way they captured Dash, just like that pissed me off because like that's insulting to her character. That she would be taken out by like just the regular thugs. I mean, really, Rainbow Danger Dash was like just like they used like a magic spell, like he had a secret amulet or something like that froze her or something like that. I would have bought that, or
even like tricking her into going into the temple where she can't fly and then capturing her.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a great thing.
Oh my God, you just fixed the episode. There you go.
But wait, what was it? I didn't hear.
But using the temple as a disabling device for Dash to not be able to use her viability, so that
the glow pads or something is there. Yeah. Like he knows where the glow pads is already.
Like which would have gotten the Earth ponies like enough muscle in order to actually capture her.
Yeah.
Or at least as soon as like Caballero and like whistled to get all the other guys there, Rainbow Dash just went like, all right, I'm out of here, and flew off Mark 1. I mean that's what she does, right?
This is not the first time she's done with Caballero.
Yeah, I'm looking. I was waiting for a fan comic where it's just like, now we got you now. Then she just like jumps up into the air. It was like, yeah, about that.
Seriously, Daring Do should learn from me. I've been the one flying around all these episodes. Daring Do hasn't. Taken the page from Rainbow Dash. Sometimes the sky is better than the land.
The sky's the limit.
You know what it could have fixed it also? Now look at this net that I just found.
No!
Ready to throw.
Caballero.
The meme star is here! The meme star has arrived! I missed you, Alex.
Oh,
Not the
no,
man.
there needs to be an animation of Caballero doing We Are Number One.
I think I know what Quillo's next animation is.
The pact has been sealed.
You have chosen your fate poorly.
The contract has been sealed.
Oh, what was it that the Quibble said is like going to the school of bad accents?
Oh.
What are we? Going to the school of bad accents?
Ah, oh my god.
Accents.
I'm sorry, I can't understand your Aussie.
What
Excuse me,
You have an accent.
Everyone has an accent if you listen closely enough.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I said, like,
You
yes.
didn't believe the lack of an accent.
I have no accent. I can be everyone and no one.
Such is the curse of the
I
American
can
accent.
be everyone and no one. Well, actually, the American accent is actually what the English accent was before
Yes.
the English accent decided to become all posh and proper.
Oh, so you mean
That's true.
that we just stole British more from the British being like,
When did you become American?
Feel it, you deserve it.
First he can
As
impersonate.
American as English apple pie.
First he can impersonate John, and now he can go American. What next?
I can be everyone and no one.
What next?
oh God, Palpatine is here.
Well, I mean, if anyone needs Russian up in here.
No, everything is right.
My
with the
Russian
right
accent needs more work.
No,
But
everything is right with the right amount of vodka.
I will hug you like fuzzy Siberian bear.
Okay.
We
next
now have to
act-
censor this for
okay,
the
next.
Russian audience.
Okay, next accent. Next accent. Hungarian. Go.
We are distracted. We should get back to our regularly.
We are.
Never heard a Hungarian accent.
I
And I think that's a good segue to get back on topic, guys.
thought-
Okay.
We'll get back on
Topic has
topic.
been run into
We'll
the
totally
ground.
get back on
Let's-
topic.
let's,
Squirrel. Hi
Let's
there.
do some excavation on
Okay.
the topic because we do's and archaeologists.
We are totally focused. Squirrel.
Okay. Did you want to know another thing that griped me about the episode? Is something that was introduced in like Famous Misfortune, and it's the fact that like Dash basically revealed to the world that Daring Do is real, even though she didn't probably put the connection between Daring Do and AK Yearling. Just the fact that Secret Pony Adventure is like there's a real actual pony out there by the name of Daring Do, and no one has actually been talking about her except for the books, which someone else has been writing
Well, I mean,
about her.
it could just be, a dismissal based on, improbability of names, because like Daring Do sounds like such a common adventurer name, and it just so happens that there's a pony named Daring Do. Oh, I didn't realize. AK Yearling says, "Oh, I didn't realize your name was actually Daring Do," and we've lost Jenn. Bye, Jenn.
She'll be back.
But yeah, so plausible deniability is all right in this sense because
I do wonder,
Yeah.
actually, it brings up the question, how often, like, ponies are, like, accidentally named similarly? Like, if there's a... Because
Well,
I doubt there's, like, just the Apple family as the Apple family. Because we've seen Flim Flam, and they've got those apples, too. So, like, how many people might accidentally have the same name?
What if it turns out anyone with an apple cutie mark is related to the apples in some weird way?
Nope. Nope.
No.
You know, but what have you done?
it's like you're a pony in a family of miners. Like they've all got mining cutie marks, and then you just have an apple one, and it's just like, am I adopted?
It's hereditary. That's why you have the desire to farm nothing but apples. It all makes sense. Jeez.
What I miss? My connection shorted out.
I may have just
We went to the
uncovered.
site.
Hey, Jen.
Hello.
So we had just uncovered the mysteries of naming ponies, and we were just talking about world domination, but you missed out on that. So you'll get the
Aw.
domination cake.
Oh.
Not be able
You'll get
to
a
actually.
slice, but
right.
yeah.
Oh,
Give it a slice.
okay, I'll get. Okay, do I get some milk?
No.
Ah, milk is for
No.
winners.
Oh.
You get water.
That's what I get for my connection shorting out. Stuff with cake and water.
You can have some dehydrated water.
Eh,
Just add
Hey?
water and you'll have water.
so
I guess I'll just have to like watch the replay and like, what did I miss?
It wasn't much. It really
Okay.
Nah, it wasn't much. We were literally just talking about how ponies name each other.
Okay. Okay, I didn't miss much, so I can just put this cake down.
Oh. Okay.
Never mind, I eat cake.
Okay,
so
Always eat the cake.
let them eat cake.
Let them eat cake.
meat cake.
Let them eat cake. For they may have for there may be diabetics among you.
let them eat pie.
All right.
Ooh, there you go.
I guess let's get some closing thoughts so Jen can get sleep.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
I'm sleep deprived.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm totally fine. Okay. Yeah, seriously, I do.
I mean, like in Scotland right now, it's probably something along the lines
Stop!
of 6 a.m. or something.
Stop it! Stop it now!
You're gonna confuse her. You're gonna confuse
You're confusing me!
So I'll just be waking up at the moment.
Stop!
Bad club. Bad. Stop.
I don't know what's real anymore.
Maybe-
Are you
maybe-
Quillo or are you John? What's
maybe
going
all-
on here?
Maybe John is just a figment of your imagination.
Discount John.
Wait a minute.
There's
Wait
like
a
this
minute.
weird just phasing in and out.
Wait a
like
minute. Wait a what?
TV snow over
wait-
his avatar.
Wait a minute. You want to put a real? You want to put a Shyamalan? You want to put a Shyamalan on this? Neither one exists.
Ah! That's
Just
who we're
bam.
talking to.
What a twist!
She's
right?
caught on.
What a twist, right?
What a twist.
What a twist!
What the tweet?
What a cinnamon twist! What a cinnamon twist!
What's
And
So
that?
Jen.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Must have
Last
final
thoughts.
thoughts, and then I must bid everyone good night. All right. So my final thoughts on this. If I can just get this. Here we go. My final thought on this episode was, I'm gonna have to agree, not the best. Not the best. I mean, not. I don't want to say horrible, but I don't know. It's just. I don't know. I just seem to miss his mark a little bit. I feel like they could have done so much with, I guess, the the Egyptian part of the Egyptian environment. I honestly don't know what they were trying to go for putting Egypt in Equestria or whatever what they were trying to go for, but. I don't know. It just seemed, first off, the background I think seemed, I don't know, it seemed very minimalistic. Like all you saw were just pyramids and then just stands. I'm like, really? Really? You don't have like bustling marketplaces and, I don't know. The environment just seemed really stripped, and also it ended so abruptly. It ended really abruptly. It was like, quick statue of. What was it? What was the figure's name? Sonambula. Like all of a sudden, statue of Sonambula. Like that's it. And again, using hope as your device, on how to get through your trials using hope. I was almost afraid somebody was going to break out like into song, like who knows what miracles can you achieve when you believe, like from Prince of Egypt. Like, oh my God, if I start hearing something like that, we got a problem. Yeah, I know hope is frail, but it's hard to kill and such, but still, I just thought that was using that as the crux of everything and how you get through the challenges and such. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like overall it missed its mark in this case. I mean, the only thing that was really, really good about it was, the flashback was definitely enjoyable. It was nice watching those pony hieroglyphics move. The Sphinx looked really cool.
Oh yeah,
the Sphinx looked really cool. And if I could honestly have that diabolical smile wherever I go, I'd have it wherever I go. That'd be fun. But yeah, I liked the flashback of it, but I don't know, the story of it, and just everything about it completely seemed to miss the mark. Though Caballeron had a pretty good motive by wanting to kind of destroy Daring Do's reputation.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think he could have gone a little bit more grandiose with it, but maybe I'm just looking through it with adult eyes. But yeah, again, for the last time, not the best episode. I think it definitely missed its mark. And with that, I must bid all of you and all of you internet listeners out there, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
And
So
good
long, farewell. I'll be to saying good night. La 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 la. Good night, every pony.
Bye, Jenn.
Outro.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Oh, he's just gone. Okay, now everyone, about my plans of world domination.
Yeah.
There goes my water.
She's the energy source for our doomsday device.
Who's next?
I definitely want to leave myself for last because I have a lot to say.
I see.
Okay, well, I could go next. I kind of like the episode. Maybe I'm just biased because I really, really enjoy ancient Egypt things. And just the way that the ponies had looked to fit into the themes of Egypt and Egyptian society. I just incredibly enjoy it. Maybe it's just because of my fascination with Age of Empires. Age of Empires 1. That was my time. And Age of Mythology, but still, I'm glad that they have Egypt ponies in this in Equestria, at least the south of Equestria. So that's a nice little piece of world building there. And not only that, but we got a map. We got a map of the south of Equestria, in brown and black parchment and ink. But it's still something that story writers and artists can build upon in order to create a more expressive world. But I do agree with people, especially Unova, when he says that the episode was kind of abrupt, and it was kind of like almost ham-fisted in a way that it's just like, oh hey, this is something that we mentioned earlier, but we're only going to use this in the barest minimum of ways just to have the setting there of the story as it was beforehand. If instead of having Rainbow Dash just be captured and have Caballeron lure her into the pyramid to capture her without having her being able to fly away, that would be, I think, a lot better. But then they needed to have Rainbow Dash be captured in plain sight so that Daring Do gets reinvigorated to save her friend, so that she can see what's happening. But then again, it could just be
they could
Rainbow Dash needs to go to find some pyramid or something.
They
could have done it a lot better than they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't, which is a bit of a downer point. But I do like the scene, the setting, and the way that little details that are speckled around the Egypt environment. There was another thing I was going to mention. What was I going to mention? Shooty booty. Oh yes. I like how they touched on the Viscera cleanup detail side of Daring Do's adventures. The fact that she may be saving the town, but she's leaving a wake of destruction in her path. Stampedes and running out of taverns before paying the tab. I like how they touched on that, but they didn't necessarily use it to the fullest extent. they just had it as like a starting point and the reason why she was retiring. But like, you know,
Plot device.
it's kind of like a plot. Yeah, it's just a plot device in all sense. I would like to have been, you know, more of a main focus. Like if we had actually seen Daring's adventure in the Sonumbula.
Yay! He said it right.
in
Which time?
Sonumbula, and actually we actually saw, you know, Daring wrecking havoc on the town, so that we can see the pony's anguish and annoyance at Daring, and then we could have that little bit more of exposition / backstory to, you know, what's happening. And one last thing that I'll talk about. I'd like to see a future episode where Caballeron decides to retire. So Caballeron's just like, you know, I'm not doing anything. I'm doing all these things, but I'm not progressing. I'm not getting anything I want because Daring Do keeps stopping me. You know what? I'm just going to retire. I'm going to become a professor. He'll be the professor. Yeah. And then, you know, he'll be in a university or some description with detailing his adventures and all the things that he's found. And then Daring Do catches wind of this and tries to quote unquote stop him with his plans, but he's just like, no, I'm retired now. I don't want to do that anymore.
I think
something could happen with that.
Like
yeah. I would like to see a story like that.
Like maybe like Daring Do is kind of like missing like the antagonist, or maybe it's like I feel like you're like treading into dangerous territory against my book sales. Like maybe he becomes like an antagonist in a different way that Caballeron didn't even notice. It's like, I actually produced much more successful
like
books than you.
The way to stop the hero is to remove the villain. There would be no hero without a villain. So if we had some ways to make Abizodal retire and Caballeron retire, then Daring Do would be forced to retire because she wouldn't have anyone to fight against. She wouldn't have anyone to be heroic against.
She'd make her own villain.
Make her own villain? Oh, God.
She'd make her own villain out of something, and then that would be her downfall. That'd be her hubris, and that could drive an episode.
If there isn't a friendship problem to solve, I'll make one.
I'll make one.
I'm gonna make Ultron in Ponyville. Oh God,
crazy. Yeah, but yeah, that's my final thoughts. I kind of liked it mainly for the aesthetics. The story could have been a hell of a lot better. But I would like to see an episode where, you know, Caballeron retires or something like that. Yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I love the world building. I like that they were still doing the legends thing that they started with on the Cutie Mark episode, CMC episode.
Campfire Tales.
Yeah. I love that they're still doing that. But this episode did have some really bad flaws, and you could tell it's bad if I'm noticing them. I never notice flaws.
Oh my God! Oh my God! When you notice it, then we know it's something that everyone feels.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. And like one really bad flaw, like just the idea that they were telling with leaping out into that pool, and just like they weren't showing those jets beforehand. Is like you could leap off a cliff and just hope to fly. Is that really the message you want to tell everyone?
Like seriously.
Or like first Pegasus learning that they can fly, like land on clouds, jumping off a cliff and then boop, on a cloud. Oh, okay, I can walk on a cloud. Right.
Oh my God!
Actually, no, that would have actually been a great way to have in this episode. Is they jump down, it's not the little spray thing with just clouds floating low.
And even though like the flying ability of the Pegasi is disabled, they're still able to walk on clouds. Oh my God.
Humidity.
Wait a minute.
Oh gosh, yeah. The
Oh my
humidity
God.
of the freaking melted glow pads.
That would be
Meeting
Twilight
the
would have been perfect in this episode.
But then Pinky would die.
Yeah,
that's why that would have worked better if they had Fluttershy.
Fluttershy, yeah.
Yeah.
Or even Twilight,
even Twilight, yeah, because of the Daring Do
because
fan.
of the wings.
Yeah, but it's just, oh man, like just maybe like the idea of like, okay, these steam vents actually make mini clouds in which they're able to physically like jump off. Like it could have added so much more to like the cloud lore for Pegasi. We could have gotten something new.
The only problem with that is that, you know, the biggest issue that I find that we all have with the Steam vents is that they didn't show them. They didn't, like, it was just a
There
pit
was no
of
That's exactly my
just a
point.
pit of green
Yeah.
stuff. There wasn't anything in there. And suddenly,
jets
boom,
coming out of
stuff.
nowhere. Oh, where do they come from? We saw them on top pit, but they didn't see them.
A pit of Mountain Dew.
No.
Oh god, the toxic wasteland. This is what predates Fallout Equestria.
It's a side effect of the map episodes
Yes.
when they travel through time.
Mm. Suddenly, Mountain Dew everywhere.
No.
All the ponies become 1337 and MLG.
Illuminati.
Oh god.
Illuminati.
As
It's the
Pacific
pyramid. Illuminati.
Oh
confirmed.
no. Well. Okay. There were a few things that like Jen had touched on that I was going to counter while she was here, but she's gone, and I was like, I don't want to keep her any longer than she needs to be awake because, yeah. She talked about the backgrounds and how like the town felt very sparse, and I was like, well, to me, it kind of fit with the idea. She's like, oh, it needed to be bustling, but a bustling town would have gotten news of AK Yearling and the books. So like the idea that it's a very small type of town that she had saved, sort of fits with the like, oh, we've got no idea that Daring Do is a book character. You know what I mean? Like that AK Yearling writes Daring Do stories. So like, yeah, that was something that I was like, oh, okay. And
we know that the Equestria is at a, I don't know, technology level in which they know where everything is, but they're not exactly all that connected, you know. So like the town was completely cut off from communication from the outside world because no one knew that they were there because, you know, it was just a town that was.
It was a very small town that just existed. Yeah, exactly.
It was in the middle of freaking nowhere.
Communication. So, yeah. So it seems makes sense. Like, yeah, so I agree with you. It wouldn't exactly be all that bustling because it is just a tiny town.
It's because the outside is set up so poorly that no one would think that there's a town there.
And I kind of like the fact, like the history for Somnambula was that it was a no-name town until Somnambula helped made it, help save the town from being hungry. Now it kind of makes you think, like, in modern history, our town still hasn't received a name with no iconic pony, even though Starlight was home.
Well, like, in all honesty, like, the thing that I keep coming back to in my brain is, like, I mean, if the main six aren't well known, each of them, if they're not all really well known for having saved the entirety of Equestria, like, what 5 times now? Like,
they didn't save the entirety. They just stopped something.
Yeah,
from
they just saved like
Ponyville
and a lot.
Well, how dare? But like Discord and
Nightmare Moon and Tyrek
and
Sombra.
Tyrek stealing all the magic, like things like that. So I'm like, if they're not well known, then I understand where there's like a really big lack of, I guess, coverage in terms of
communication.
In terms of the news stuff. So like I understand that part too, with why friggin' Somnambula, the town, is just like nah.
Think of it like Amish villages. They just don't get any kind of communication
outside of it.
And for some reason,
you just separated from
back
the rest
to
of
the bustlingness.
Huh?
For some reason, I feel like a big old busy marketplace would be less Egyptian and more Arabic. I don't know why I feel that way. I think it could be because of Aladdin, but
Aladdin.
I can kind of see
Aladdin.
What do you mean by
So
that?
it'd be less bustling and more stands.
Oh,
That's just my feeling. What are you going for that?
I'm sorry. When you say Egyptian and stands, just JoJo's. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I just now laughing. It's just association things with me.
Okay.
Nani?
Shoto a heckin' minute.
Omae wo shindeu.
No.
Uri was Tezu.
No Overwatch. Okay, going back to my things, I made a quiet list. I did really like the aesthetics. I agree very much so. Like a lot of the that was something with like the pony designs that I noticed too, is like their coats are not necessarily like desaturated, but they're like lighter, as if they've been out in the sun and getting a little bit sun bleached, which I thought was kind of cute. Like they're not vibrant colors like Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie. They're still pink, you know, but they're like a paler pink because of the sun bleaching. At least that's my theory on it. Because desert.
And also covered in sand.
Yeah, covered in sand. I thought it was funny too. There were a couple of them wearing pants, and I was like, well, I mean, yeah, you wouldn't want any like sand in really uncomfortable places. So I was like, this is the first time I've seen them wear pants, really, though. The idea where the inn was, huh?
And would it be would it be the town has been so long with, you know, characters, you know, wearing pants? Would it be, you know, kind of a bit raunchy if a couple of characters were to walk around town without any pants on?
Well, I mean,
you know,
that goes back to the sort of like the thing that Alex said, with sort of like the Amish mentality, where the town is so used to a specific thing that when an outsider does come in, they're like, maybe that's their custom.
Fair enough.
So like, you know,
You just feel like Pony's looking at Rainbow and Pinkie. Oh, I've never known such nakedness. Oh, that's how they live.
I can see the cutie marks.
I don't even see them wearing any bags. Like, what do they think? They think we're gonna give them food for free just because they're poor?
But like little things like that I thought were really nice. There was a little segment actually when they were going to the inn where the sun sort of like changed position and it was a bit nighttime, and when they were walking up and pointing, they were sweating, and I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, you didn't even need to do this, but you did it anyway. Like they added the little sweat beads on their head, and I was so happy about that. I'm like, this is so perfect. Oh, it was great. It was such a nice little detail that they didn't
When was that?
That was at like 8 minutes, I think. Something like that. Oh gosh. I gotta get to it.
8:40.
8:40. Okay, 8:40. That was where it was. And then like she, you know, Rainbow Dash points and she's like, oh, that's the inn. And then Pinkie's got little sweat bead, and then Rainbow Dash has a couple on her, and I'm just like, oh, that was just a teeny touch, because you guys have been walking this whole time. You didn't even need to do it, but you did it, and I'm so happy. I mean, it's like,
Did it anyway.
It was such a nice little detail.
Oh, it would have also been nice. Yeah, yeah, very awesome little detail. It would have been also nice if like the their manes were like slightly either
Wilted
dampened or frizzy or something.
Yeah, like
what
wilted.
happens to hair when it's in a very dry environment? Does it frizz or does it like?
It
I do not
wilts.
know.
Because it frizzes for me when I go anywhere else but where I am right now. I live in the New Mexico desert. Okay, it's very. My hair's very flat here, but then when I go to like DC, not you DC, Washington DC. When I was there like a month ago, my hair was just like.
You go to DC often?
No.
Yeah. No, I see.
Jesus. Savage.
I just hear DC laughing. I'm like, no.
Well,
my
actually,
face
funny
is
thing, I'm
red
just
and
looking
I
at
don't understand why.
I'm just looking at the equestrian map because I was trying to figure out exactly where they're going right when we were talking about all these. Because I found this looks like this village is pretty much right where the Pinkie's rock farm is, but like to the left.
To the left.
In the desert next to it.
I see.
To the
It's
west.
pretty much like
Pinkie's rock.
right next to where where Pinkie's family is, like more or less.
If the map is to scale. Yeah, if the map is to scale. Yeah.
So does that mean that Cloudsdale's far in the south?
No, that's Las Pegasus.
Oh, that's Las Pegasus. Okay.
Cloudsdale falls from the sky moves.
I'm still like kind of upset that Pinkie was there mostly just for the climax kind of thing. And Jen had pointed out that Hope was kind of just like a blind faith thing, as opposed to something, because the way Hope works is it's more the instigator for an action. in order to help the
Mm.
betterment kind of thing, which is what
As
Sonambula did.
opposed to just
She
Yeah.
used hope in like the ability, like she's like, okay, I've got a necklace of pearls, I can use that to trade for food. So it's like that is something that she used hope to say, I'm going to the situation could be better, and she used that to spark the action, which was trading the pearls for food. And with the end of the thing, we've come up with so many much better ideas in this call, like for the climax. But the idea that she's just like, we have to make a blind leap of faith, and then jumps in, that was more reckless than it was hopeful. It wasn't based out of hope. It was based out of it was based out of a reckless action as opposed to like a hopeful one.
This
in
was
order to better the situation. And that was something that I agreed with Jen on as well. Or it's just like
It's why they call it a leap of faith rather than a leap of hope.
exactly. And I'm like, guys, it's not the same thing. the only like I said, the only reason that they probably put Pinky in here was because of her previous experiences with that, like with feeling Pinky keen, with her tail twitching, and her idea that you aren't in control of a lot of things. But that was a totally like it was definitely on a different angle than what they were trying to do with this one. And this is just it wasn't as good as it could have been.
fucking inferior copy of that climax.
Yeah. Like the thing is, like, again, I think that's just the big thing is like Pinky just felt, like I said, any of the other main six would have been a better fit in this episode. Just like Pinky seemingly had no, like, she was there, but she really wasn't there as a character.
I did see like little sort of like elements, because like with the what was it, the Yakistan episode from the previous one, where she sort of like the idea that she can understand the way somebody like works, as opposed to because that was when she interrupted Rainbow Dash saying like, you know, you kind of need to give some space. I did see that as something that Pinky might do. Just with the previous experiences, like with how she has files on her friends of things that they like and things that they don't like and fears that they have and things like that, how she tries to align that with how she interacts with the pony. So like I could see how that part might work, and she's a little bit more mellow. She has been mellow in the past as well, like with the really, really stark contrast with the Too Many Pinkie Pies thing, where she was very calm in comparison to all of her other Pinky clones. But I do see a lot of flaws in having her just be here for the climax only, and like writing her pretty much around that. Yeah. I did not appreciate that as much.
so like she had no other purpose in the entire episode except for jumping madly.
The last 5 minutes.
Yeah. Just jumping madly into the thing.
To inspire Daring Do, even though it's like, even like this like team up just doesn't fit well at all.
I think they have teamed up Pinky and Rainbow Dash before.
No, for like the Lost Treasure of Griffin stuff, but that made so much sense because it was Gilda, the one connecting the two.
Right. So, yeah, and also like another time, because whenever there's like Pinky and Rainbow Dash, I mean, they sort of forgot about their unique friendship from season 1, but they do have a good chemistry and sort of like the sort of lighthearted tone, like where they sort of joke around a lot.
Oh yeah,
but that doesn't really fit this episode because it's a rather serious subject, because like J.K. Keeling's concerned like retiring because of all the damage, quote unquote, she's done and all that. And also, but Pinky has no interaction in the past, really. I mean, besides where all the main six technically interacted with A.K. Yearling, but overall, like she has no really connection into why would Pinky go along with Dash here instead of like wouldn't Dash or go by herself, or like another main six come. Like Twilight freaked out, like, oh my gosh, my favorite book series might end. Oh, trust me, you don't need to justify
Twilight or
Fluttershy.
Yeah, they would have been pretty good choices. Like Fluttershy might have been concerned about the, like the, I guess the emotional. No. The like the sort of aggressive feelings that Rainbow Dash was having in regards to the book series being ended. Just because they know that
also if they wanted to add an odd to the comics, Fluttershy and Daring Do did go on an adventure together at one point.
Oh,
I see.
So what if they would have like it would have been a nice little bit of continuity. It would have made sense to actually have Fluttershy. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
So yeah, but we need to start wrapping up because we've been at this for like over 2 hours.
I got you. Are you finished, Cadet?
I was just gonna say one last thing. The facial animations were like some of the animation was a little bit choppy and it was kind of weird watching them move. There were certain segments.
The eyes when I mentioned when they're outside the house.
Not only that, but like the way the jawline moved or the transition from a 3/4 angle into a front-facing angle towards the camera, that was a little bit weird, like especially on the bench at the beginning. That was something that I just kind of was like, oh, okay. Caballero did have some pretty great faces at the end, though, especially like how big they made his laughing, like his maniacal face when he was just laughing. Yeah. I did really appreciate the Egyptian like aesthetic that they gave it and the music. The music in the background was fantastic. It was so great. It was more immersive, and they had like little tiny Daring Do melodies at some points, just kind of thrown in when they would start talking about Daring Do, and I thought that was a really nice touch too. Musical cues. But yeah, overall the episode was a bit lackluster in comparison to other episodes that I've seen for sure. Based on all the things that we've already talked about and the things that I just reiterated. So now I'm done.
As for me, for like my final thoughts, after thinking about this is going to be weird for me to say. This might be one of my least favorite episodes of the entire series right here. I'm not even like emotionally upset for it to even reach that point. I just feel like like for one thing, like using hope as like an empty platitude, like I've had like these experiences of like watching through like narratives from like video games, visual novels, which actually entertained me and actually made me think about those values a lot more appreciatively. But then for like at this story, like the way that like rumors are going with like Caballero like setting up the townspeople to like actually blame Daring Do for like a simple destruction of the town, which I thought it could have been something interesting, something great. Maybe they could have piggybacked off of like all the superhero negativity hype that was going on around in the 2010s, you know? But it felt like they constantly wanted to bring back the focus to hope or like the lack of confidence issue with Daring Do, which it didn't work at all because hope and lack of confidence, they don't really mesh well. They don't really mesh well, like
it's
because
like the same thing, huh?
It's like lack of confidence in like being like an adventurer, like or like hero in the sense because of like a negative press and like actually realizing about the damage and stuff. Like if it would have focused more of like her actually like realizing it, yet if they wanted the story to be more focused on hope, then it could have been like trying to get Daring Do out of like her depressed state, like getting herself out and like actually helping people instead of like just being like, I'm just gonna stop doing stuff anymore because all I do in my actions is just bring destruction, and she forgets about all the good stuff she does. Like then maybe I feel like they could have maybe strengthened the point about hope in the story. But if not, and instead maybe we could have wanted to do something more about like Daring Do trying to like clear her name, being fixated on like her reputation being slandered, even though like because like she has like this pride as like an author documenting her work and such, and felt like weirdly enough like that might have been enough to justify her action. Maybe it could have been a story about maybe that doesn't justify anything, and Rainbow Dash could have also been proven wrong in like her blind like a loyalty to like a Daring Do in this case, because it could have shown maybe like a big flaw about loyalty in this episode. But no, it just felt like unaddressed or like underplayed, like when it comes to like the resolution in the end, which really makes me hate Rainbow Dash a lot in this episode. Like Pinky was very much non-existent until the climax. Rainbow, on the other hand, was one of the most annoying parts of the episode. Just, oh man.
I mean, what is that? I mean, she was trying to, keep the she was trying to be the character that was making Daring, see why she was regain Daring's hope, I suppose. That was what Rainbow's purpose was. The only part that I find that was really annoying about Rainbow was how she didn't, just simply fly away from Caballero when called out the cavalry.
No, well,
like, yeah, Rainbow was Rainbow was, as exuberant, as boisterous as she usually is. So yeah,
no,
I'm not sure if she would be necessarily.
It's not like her like attitude. It's more of like what she was actually doing to try to like help her friend's reputation be cleared. Like the way of like just blindly just saying stuff like about it, and then like all of a sudden being stopped by like the old pony, which tells the story about Somnambula. It's like it just feels like she was just going off of everything without like much basis. Like even after Daring Do revealed to like her that like she was actually right to feel upset because like she know that she destroyed something. It just felt like she comes in like half cocked essentially a lot of the time for like these arguments. And even though that might be like part of Rainbow Dash's character in that case, in terms of like just trying to like help the situation, it really wouldn't really help the situation. Maybe it's just me thinking about it in a realistic sense. But yeah. I just it just didn't really felt good at all. Like even like them trying to like put chemistry with Pinky and Darren, it's just like that. Those are easily some of the most forgettable lines of the episode. And I just checked the transcript for this episode. It's like easy peasy squeezy. And when Daring Do was trying to say it, it's like just felt so uncomfortable coming out of her mouth. It's not a line she would normally say. And just overall, this episode just has like a lot. It could have easily been something that could have been simply written while still being good, which is GM Berrows' strength. But this is like a case of like, it feels like there's like multiple topics or like multiple things that could have easily been strong points in like by themselves, but just all together, like meshed together under the whole concept of hope fails completely. And I just have to give it a mediocre score. Really is just that, mediocre. Even though I do like the aesthetics of Somnambula and the mythology. Like, don't get me wrong. I actually studied the Sphinx back in high school for a 20-page research paper on the Greek goddess of Hera. So I would know. But just this just kind of like it's sort of like a lot of the things that interest me. So it kind of goes very personally in my least favorite episode of the entire series on that basis alone. I'm done, DC.
All right.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
My goodness.
Easy peasy
But
squeezy.
with that said, yeah, just I think I already sort of covered my thoughts. Where it just, I think this is Berrows' weakest episode because its structure just and a lot of the plot just didn't feel necessary and disjointed. Just unnecessary and disjointed seems to be a good description of this episode. And the one plus I will say is like the way they used the flashback and just the story within it was actually very, very awesomely handled.
Yes.
But like everything else around it just felt off and out of like a lot of out of character moments and just weird plot points. Just it was disjointed. It's like one of the most like clusterbuck of an episode I've seen in a while from here. But I guess with that said, see y'all next week.
Yay!
Bye.
Except John might actually be John next week.
Oh my god.
Discount John probably wouldn't come out, but we don't know if that will
Oh
be the case.
boy.